Hello. Let's talk a bit about strength. Like how can you use breathing exercises to become stronger, to perform better? Say you are a MMA fighter. Now, if you would do beforehand some form of 20, 30 minute, maybe up to an hour breathing exercise. You can find them on my channel, by the way. 4 rounds of TT breathing, 4 rounds of Wim Hof breathing, stuff like that. That's a perfect way to prepare. And if you really have like a peak performance, maybe you want to do a double session or a full hour of breathing. You will store more oxygen in your muscle tissue, and like the anaerobic dissimulation, the man with the hammer, where you get the dump, basically the adrenaline dump, whatever you want to call it. You really become tired, you start panting, and you really need to breathe a lot. That moment comes later if you do your breathing exercises beforehand. Now, say you're really in the ring in a fight, and you have like 3 minutes of fighting and then 30 seconds or 1 minute of rest in between. You want to understand what is happening with your body. Like with doing your breathing exercises beforehand and you store more oxygen in your muscle tissue and your CO2 level is a little bit lower, we want to breathe more if we have higher levels of CO2 and a lack of oxygen. But our breathing trigger is CO2. So by doing your exercises beforehand and already creating a temporal imbalance, that moment where your CO2 becomes too high and you need to really breathe comes later. And hopefully a little bit later than your counterpart, the person that you're beating. Now, if you are in that 30 seconds, 1 minute rest in between 2 rounds, you got to understand you have a high CO2 and a low oxygen. So you want to breathe the hell out of your system. So not like, no, you want to breathe like, just get the CO2 out and put the oxygen in. You will see, and please give me feedback, that if you do that you will have more strength and you have a higher chance of winning the match. Now then afterwards, if you really had a peak performance and you're like having a lot of muscle pain, like when you run your marathon or when you had your so many rounds of fighting and afterwards you feel depleted, this is because of the production of lactic acid that is produced in the anaerobic dissimulation without oxygen. This is where the man with the hammer comes around and you become like, I'm tired now and I need to breathe. Lactic acid is produced. That is because of a lack of oxygen. So if afterwards you want to get rid, not all the muscle pain, or at least I have not succeeded to breathe all the muscle pain away, but you can get out of that depleted state where you feel like there's no energy left because you've worked out too much or you had your peak performance. So you can use the same breathing exercise that you do beforehand afterwards to get rid of the lactic acid. Now, please let me know how this works for you, especially if you're a ring fighter. Use this, because I never see this happening. And this is like the most simple thing, especially in those 30 seconds of rest or 1 minute in between 2 rounds. Breathe the hell out of your system. Overbreathe, like CO2 out, oxygen in. Let me know how it works, please. If you like this information, you want to know more about it, maybe you can check out my Control Your Breath, Control Your Life online course or group coaching. There's a link in the description below. That's it for this video. See you in the next, and please let me know how this works for you. Bye-bye.